Okay, so we'll get going here. Before we start, can everyone give me a big hello in the chat box so I know you can hear me okay? Before I dive into any of these slides, just give me a big hello in the chat box so I know everyone can hear me okay. Good, thanks Glenda. Katie, thank you. Claire, I love it. Good, okay. So we'll get rocking here then straight away. Christine, thank you. So yeah, welcome. Motivating and inspiring others. So during this presentation, I'll talk about obviously you as a coach, you as a parent, some of the things we can be doing, motivating and inspiring others. As usual, if there's anything you feel to add as I'm going through the slides, don't be afraid to put in on the chat box if it's something you agree with. There'll be different times when I'm going to poke you to engage with some comments intentionally. But outside of that, don't be afraid to put something in the chat box. Okay, so we'll get rocking and rolling here. So again, thank you for being here. Let's have a look. I'll just move my my little box over. Okay, so as you can see there, the first thing on the top there, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So just think about that for a moment, because we might, think it, but are we really showing it? Are we engaging someone inside to know that we actually care about them? What words could we possibly be using to motivate them, make them feel good, right? You know what? I'm just going to push this over to one side because I can hear myself speaking. People need to know that you're in the process with them, for them, right? So it's a collective. It's not a me and a you, it's a collective, right? We have team goals here, but at the same time, I've got to be conscious of how I motivate you as well. If I'm part of a team, how do I motivate my teammates, right? Athletes can quickly detect if it is about the coach. So thinking about ways when you're motivating and inspiring, is everything geared around you? Your actions geared around you? Are the team conversations geared around you? Or is it about the athletes? Is it about the individuals as well? Okay. So building relationships with your athletes on and off the field is very important in getting to know who they are and why they're there. This is so crucial, right? The time you take to get to know someone, do you know that has such an effect with that individual? So when, again, we're talking about motivating and inspiring, think of that relationship, the trust, what's there at the beginning. And not only there at the beginning, but the way that you now get to know that individual and knows and can take him to new heights, just built on your relationship, right? Building trust and camaraderie through the team, this needs to be intentional. So I'll put this out to the group quickly. Why does it need to be intentional? So in the chat box, anything that comes to mind, why does that need to be building trust and camaraderie in the team? Why does it need to be intentional? Just give me anything in the chat box, anything that comes to mind. Let's see what we have here. Thank you, Kate. Engages the players. Fantastic. Good. Any others? Any others? Builds trust. Thank you, Glenda. Yeah. Good. So engages the players, builds trust, right? And there's sometimes where players can actually help other players more than the coach helping the players. So it's about looking at those leaders within that core group and allowing them to be leaders, which not only motivates them and inspires them, but inspires others. It's like a ripple effect. Okay, so thank you for that. Claire, sometimes we think just happens organically. Exactly, you can't just put a bunch of individuals together and think that happens. No, it doesn't happen. Some of you might have been involved in teams where not everyone on the team likes each other, but they've got a team goal, possibly an individual goal and a team goal that they work together to make the effort for that team, right? That team goal. even though personally I might not like someone on the team. So having these little, there's, a vast amount of things you can be doing to build relationships within your core group, but there's always got to be something intentionally around that, because again, it's so important. Okay, so before I move on to the next slide, give me a big yes if you're keeping up to speed with where I'm at, if you can resonate with anything I've said so far. Thank you, Katie. Thank you. Lets me know that everyone's awake as well. Right, John, thank you. Good, so we look at extrinsic versus intrinsic. As you can see, I struggled to say these words, but that's okay. I'm vulnerable like that. I don't care. So hopefully I said it okay. So extrinsic motivation, you've got a few things down there versus intrinsic. So extrinsic would be outside, right? Looking from the outside, whereas intrinsic could be coming from within, right? So if we simplify it and say, we look at outside, extrinsic, right? Recognition, praise from others, right? Recognition could be from parents, it could be from their peers, it could be from anyone, really, right? Praise from others, and especially these young bucks nowadays, social media, getting likes on different things, TikTok and all that stuff, right? Trophies, obviously, that could be an outside motivation. Medals, right? Prizes, records. Are we undefeated? And we're playing a big game this week and we didn't allow someone to score on us. That could be something, right? And then obviously money. Now again, if we're talking about youth, let's be careful with that one, right? Okay. But obviously, as you go older, money could be a play, right? After 18, money could come into it a little bit. But then when we look at within, right? Wanting to reach full potential, that could be my motivation, right? Wanting to be proud of performance. You ever speak to your athletes and say, each practice, each game, do you have a goal individually? Right? And it's so interesting to hear that. And when they do have it, go back to them afterwards, whether it's that same session or a week after, to say, hey, did you get to those goals? How were they? Or, you know what, I remember you mentioning these were some of the things you wanted to achieve, and I actually saw you do it. So when again we talk about motivation, inspiring, imagine as an athlete, my coach not only listened, but acknowledged and then recognized the week after and came to me and had that conversation. Think of what that does for me as an individual, right? Developing, mastering skills, ability, same thing, right? My motivation could be, I want to get better. I constantly want to get better. And part of me getting better, it's not only with me, but obviously my coach helping me, my parents helping me. But some of the, the core of that comes from the inside, right? Another thing could be contributing to success. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm part of a team, and I want to help this team do great things. That's a goal I have. That's a motivation I have from within, and it burns me, right? Each game, each practice, this is our team goal. No one has to bring back. That's something I have inside. Okay. So here's one for you. What else could you add to that list? What else could you add to that list, whether it's from the outside, extrinsic or intrinsic? So give me a few things that, looking on that list, what else could you add? Because I like to definitely get different perspectives, different things as well. So what else could you add to that list? So in the chat box, give me something. Go. In the chat box, give me something. Fun. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Katie said fun. And intrinsic. Yeah, any others? Yeah, relationships, good. Right. Intrinsic, social, thank you, Christine. Claire, extrinsic, being identified by pro national teams. Yeah, huge. That could be my motivation that I want to play for my country. I want to get acknowledged. I want to get recognized. I love that. Thank you, Claire. Good. All right, so we will move on. Okay. What motivates you as a coach? Can using both types can have a role to play by motivating your athletes? So yeah, it could be both, right? We agree. It's not one or the other, but again, it could be one of, one of each. Could be a couple from each. Main point is, as a coach, we've got to be aware of this, right? We've got to be aware of it, but have those conversations with the players and find out what drives them, what motivates them, what inspires them. It's such a great conversation to have, and not only have the conversation, but come back to it later on to share with them things that you've seen they've been doing or are doing based on the conversations you had prior, right? So fantastic. Thank you for contributing to that. Love it. So what type of leader are you? Right? Transformational versus transactional. Okay? My words tonight. Okay? Are you a coach that builds up others, encourages, inspires, supports, and facilitates a growth mindset? And you're probably looking at that saying, okay, what are some of the things there? When we say build up, can you take that interest, as I said, in the players, encourage things that they're working on and doing, right? Because they don't have to be perfect at it, but as long as they're doing it, as long as they've got that ball rolling, right? Are you someone they look up to? Inspire. How do you inspire them? Some of the ways could be when things are going wrong, how do you turn that into a positive and still keep the focus on a positive instead of, as we do sometimes, flip into that negative? Not only in soccer, but could you be that kind of coach that inspires them when they're at school, when they're doing other things, that when they think of you in a positive light? Because remember, again, everything that we're doing in soccer is transferable into the real world, into life. And we'd love them to take some of those things with them. So think of yourself as a coach. You're a coach that when your players are not with you, they look on you as someone who motivates them, who inspires them for other things that they're doing outside of soccer, right? Supports, facilitates a growth mindset. This could be during the session. Instead of us always telling and showing what we want them to do, what about pulling them into that thought process now and saying, hey, Abby, Derek, Morgan, what's some of the things we could do here? Right? What's some of the things we can do here? Imagine how that comes across to the players. That trust again. My coach motivates me because he allows me to have a voice. He allows me to be part of the problem solving. He allows me to grow. I have some ideas and my coach listens, or my coaches listen. It could be at half time that, the players are encountering something on the field that you're not seeing off the field. And they come and give you some suggestions and you say, you know what, just go with it. I love what you've identified as a group or as an individual or as a group. Let's go with that. And that's what we mean by growth mindset. Can we be doing, not to say you're not doing it now, but can we start doing this even more? Right? Or are you a coach that focuses on compliance through withholding and providing benefits and rewards? Right? And Claire's put in the bottom there, which I love. You'll catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Very true. Very true. So again, it's about that. When you've got that, there's so much that can flow from it. Right? When it's that, okay, it's very hard to motivate, very hard to inspire, very hard to engage. Right? And not only with the players, think about this as well. The parents. It could be, hey, it could be individually, it could be to the whole group. I loved your behavior at the game, right? I love how you're inspiring. It could be anything, but it could be, again, it's not just about the players, right? Because the team is the players, coaches, and the parents. So what are some of the things we could be telling the parents to inspire them, to motivate them? Are we sharing with them what we're doing frequently with the players, on and off the field? Are we growing their mindset by bringing them to different levels, so when they are watching a game, they kind of understand what's going on? If they don't see you over there shouting, they have an understanding of why you're not shouting. Those are all things, again, that we can be doing as coaches to inspire, right? To motivate. Give me a big yes if you can relate to anything I've said there. Big yes, big yes. In the chat box, big yes. Thank you, Christine. Katie, love it. Glenda, thank you. Okay, so we've got a little video here. I'm going to show you the video. And then after the video, can you type in the chat box what you got from the video? Keep it, you know, not too long. We don't need a novel, but just anything you got from the video, and then we'll share and discuss some of that afterwards, okay?
Matt, no sound, unfortunately, bud.
Oh my God, this always happens. Sorry. Ah. Okay, let me go back again. Okay, can you hear it this time?
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
You shouldn't have any doubt in your mind about what you're supposed to do tonight. And about how you're supposed to do it.
This is your time.
Now,
I don't want them to gain another yard.
We got to go out there and we got to take it.
Take their game and you shove it right back in their face.
That's how winning is done.
Team's something you belong to, something you feel, something you have to earn.
If we don't come together,
It's over.
And I guarantee you, we won't go by in your life. You won't regret walking out, letting them get the best of it.
I'll ask you one last time.
To be the best that you can be. Play like champions.
Win. It's about heart. It's about who can go out there and play the hardest.
it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
I don't care what the scoreboard says. At the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
In any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die,
Willing to take the hits.
who's going to win that inch.
Let me tell you something you don't let anything, nothing come between us.
On this team, we fight.
And we shut them down because we can.
You believe in miracles?
Fantastic. So yeah, just in the chat box, write down a few things that you got from that. Just a few things you got from that. Katie, so honest emotions, right? Honest emotions, coaches are just invested as the players. Ricardo, great to see you, by the way. Sincere intensity. Yeah, love it. Yeah, love it. Good. Christine, lots of we versus I talk, so everyone is working together. Love that one, Christine, right? Lots of we, right? Sounds French, we, right? John, yeah, coach must believe in the players in order to encourage them to believe more in themselves. Fantastic point, John, right? Believe in the players so they start believing in themselves as well and knowing that you believe in them as well, right? Fantastic. Okay. So just before I move on, what were some of the things we noticed with the eyes of the coaches? They were doing what? Looking directly at the players, right? At the athletes, right? You had some who were very, right? And some that were very soft, right? So if there's another thing that video taught you, it's not one style fits everyone. Agreed? Not one style. Because you had some being very soft, eye contact, some being very moving around, and yeah, but it was enough that it got the players going for what they were trying to do. But the main point that I'm trying to bring out here was, again, it's not one shoe fits everyone, right? There's different ways of how to motivate your players, speech-wise, body language-wise, right? But one of the worst things we can do sometimes is be talking to players and turning our backs on them, not looking at them. That doesn't bring out motivation. That doesn't bring out inspiration. So again, it's one of those, right? Can we be looking at people as we're speaking to them? And then matching that with the actions of our words, of our body language. If you've probably noticed since I've been doing this presentation, I'm using different tones in my voice to grab you at different times, depending on what points I'm making. Okay, so again, thank you for that. Yeah, Christine, we don't need to yell, which is nice for us quiet folks, right? You just don't. It can have that total opposite effect, right? Not only personally, but you know, the coach is shouting at me in front of my peers, like, yeah, you've got to know the individuals as well, right? But thank you for sharing that. Love it. So I'll move on here. I'll just move this. Okay, so any toddler can have a tantrum when something doesn't go their way. For us parents on here, we all understand that. Our job as coaches, as adults, is to take a step back from the emotional component and look at what is going on so we can provide direction, right? So it's not about something's happened and all of a sudden we've gone in there with that emotion. Can we step back and really see what's happening? You know, sometimes you get a question, and before answering the question, try and think where the question might be coming from, because you might answer the question but not answer the core of where it's coming from. So as coaches, we are the leaders, the role models, right? We set the tone not only to our athletes, but our parents and our organization, right? It's not just one out of all, it's all of them, right?
Quick question, Matt.
Yes.
So I've had parents sometimes say that they want me yelling so that the kids can hear on the opposite side of the pitch, which isn't my style. So what do I say to them?
To who, the players or the parents?
The parents. It's the parents that are the...
But so the parents are have you had this discussion with the players, which first
the
and
players,
foremost?
yeah, I've asked them if it bothers them or if they can hear me, and they say, yeah, they're fine. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd definitely say to the parents, listen, if the players can hear it, that's the most important thing right now, right? Yeah. As parents, it's not whether I'm not coaching you in a game, right? I'm coaching the players. I'm supporting the players. And if they can hear me, fine. They can watch my body language and they can see all of that, then that's okay, right? That's okay. As parents, don't be, as long as the players can hear you, everything else is okay, right? I would definitely have that, and just let them know that the players can hear me fine, right? They can hear me fine. Your job on the game, if you want to listen to me, great, but just watch the game. Watch the game, encourage, even use it as a learning tool. You know, come back to me instead of possibly coming back to me and saying, you can't hear me. Share with me some of the things you got out of the game as a parent. Use it as a learning moment, right? Yeah, so does that answer your question? Yeah, that's a great question though, Christine. Thank you. How are some of the ways you set the tone for your program? So coaches, how are some of the ways you'd set the tone for your program? Good. So Claire just mentioned, I think parents sometimes come from how they have been coached. I believe it is good to let parents know about your style. Definitely. Definitely. And we're going to cover that in upcoming slide here. But that's something to take into account as well, right? But again, a lot of it's built on that communication, that togetherness. So again, it's easy, it's transferable to have those conversations and that growth mindset and to inspire, right? So how are some of the ways you set the tone for your program? You need to have important chat with parents at the start. Yeah, Martin, you need to have important chat with the parents at the start of the season, possibly. John, lead by your values and coaching philosophy. Definitely. Definitely, which is important, right? Very important. Okay. So we'll move on. Okay. Oh. Okay, so defining, because this leads into this, which is kind of really good, especially based on Claire's comment as well. So, you know, for people that have been on, who are on the call right now, who have gone through coaching courses, some of this might look very familiar to you, and we've used different words for a lot of this, but it's the same thing. But when we look at task, similar to autocratic, dictatorial, and authoritarian, do as I say, you know, a do as I say leader, but not extreme, but do as I say, right? You've got the player oriented, see players as people, there for the players, build players' self-esteem, explain, this is how we do things. So there's an engagement of a conversation. It's not just telling them, right? Power oriented, put the highest standard on hard work and creativity while giving up control of some areas of the player's performance. So I mentioned earlier about, you know, halftime. The players have recognized something and possibly you haven't, right? Giving them now the power to say, hey, if you recognized it and you feel you can implement this now, second half, let's go for it, right? Having that trust within them, right? Goal oriented, encourage participation by players in decision making, because they know that in return they will get self-motivation and commitment. So again, another one I mentioned earlier, could be in your training session. Hey Claire, what's something we can add here? Hey team, John suggested we could possibly do this. What's your thoughts? All of a sudden now, what does that do? Not only to the team, but to those individuals as well, right? And then we've got principle. Core set of beliefs that guide and conduct themselves. So again, that would come back to John's comment a little bit. Lead by your values and your coaching philosophy, right? And this is not the only way, but this is I think this is one of the great slides out there when we talk about coaching and how engaging, motivating, inspiring. There's different ways, but you match some of this with the relationships that you have with the players, with the parents. There's so many different ways to go around it, right? And it's just picking which one works with which situation, right? Give me a big yes if you can relate to this defining your coaching style. Give me a big yes. Or got you, or thumbs, or whatever's on that chat box. Thank you, Martin. Good. Katie, yes, good. Thank you. Yes, and we can be more than one, right? We definitely can be more than one. Thank you, Claire. So principles of a successful coach. Honesty. Very, you know, it's not about telling the player what you, just be honest. Just be very honest, right? Maintain self-control. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Emotions can ride high, especially when it's based on results and that kind of thing, right? Or an incident's happened within the game. Do you have enough within you to stay calm, stay professional, keep everyone safe and deal with the situation, right? Positive and optimistic. You probably notice I'm moving around today because I've done the last couple of presentations. I've done them. I've enjoyed them, but I've been sitting down with everyone who knows, man. I like to move. I like to, so positive and optimistic, right? If you're not positive, you're not optimistic, especially enthusiastic, how the hell do you think that's going to transpire, you know, to the kids, to the players, right? Caring, having those conversations, getting to know the child before the athlete, really diving into who they are, why are they here, what are they hoping to get from the game, what did the game do for them, right? How's school going? What are you struggling with at school? What can I help you with, right? Demands discipline and hard work, right? You can demand all of that and you can go about it the right way. Because you'll have players out there, and we always say this, and I did it myself. There were coaches I would run through a brick wall for. I would do anything for because they believed in me, they trusted me, right? And they demanded a lot from me, but the way they went about it made it in a way that it wasn't confrontational. It wasn't out of my league. And they made me understand why as well. It wasn't, you know, telling me all these things without me understanding it, which I think is important for us as coaches as well. Is themselves, right? A successful coach. Just be yourself. Put your personality on it. Be you. I think I tweeted this the other day about kids are not the only one that should be having fun. Have fun with it. Be a goofball. Be anything. But enjoy it. Be yourself. And most importantly, love what they're doing. I think Katie mentioned this earlier, right? Love what they are doing. Good. Thank you, Gabrielle. Respect based off report. Yeah, definitely. You don't just get it, you've got to earn it, right? But in earning it, it leads to different things. Okay, good. So again, think of your favorite coach, teacher. Oh, I just got to move this. What characteristics did they have? Okay, so in the chat box, just think of someone, your favorite coach, teacher, or even person. What characteristics did they have? Just share in the chat box. Not only for me, but for everyone else here on the call. Think of, is there any that stand to mind? Is there any that come to mind? Humble and hard work. Thank you, Claire. Good. Yeah, humble and hard work. Martin, they didn't care about the game results. They cared how we felt about it. Oh, powerful, Martin. Thank you. Ricardo, don't let me, let's have a look. Don't let me, oh, they're coming in fast. Don't let me get away with stuff. High demand, good. So kept you accountable. John, Don Howe, authentic, passionate, and honest. Love that, John. Christine, it was obvious that they enjoyed being with us. Katie, supported the players on a mental level. Fantastic. Glenda, kind and considerate. Yeah? Look at all those comments there. Fantastic, gang. Love it. Right? So even if there was some there that you've never thought about before, there's some there now that you can even add to your coaching toolbox and go, okay, how can I be identified in some of these as well? Right? Thank you. Love it. Love it. Thank you. Let's just move on here. Okay, so the pyramid of success, and some of you possibly have heard of John Wooden. If you haven't, very, very, very successful coach back in the day that set a lot of core principles for successful teams, successful leading people, inspiring people back in the day. Not too long, but back in the day. So we've put the slide in, obviously, just to give you, 12 lessons in leadership. So you look at, industriousness, friendship, loyalty, cooperation, enthusiasm, intentness, initiative, alertness, self-control, condition, skill, team spirit, confidence, poise, and competitive greatness. And as you can see, there's a breakdown in all of those as well. And I love this pyramid because, again, it's something you can actually take and not only work on it from your standpoint as a coach, but possibly as a team as well, right? Some, if you wanted to add to that, you look at the top there and there's faith and patience, right? Fantastic. Simplified, but in a way that is understandable to understand what these all relate to and what they all mean, right? So again, it's something that you can obviously take and work on, keep working on, right? Not only with the players, not only with yourself, but the parents as well, right? Alertness, constantly being aware and observing, right? So sometimes it's not always about talking. Sometimes it's about taking that step back and just doing this, right? Because it's not about me, it's about we, us. But sometimes take yourself out of the picture and have a look, right? Look at it from a different angle, from a different lens, right? Self-control, we just talked about that. Enthusiasm, right? When things are not going right, can you still carry that enthusiasm, that positiveness, even when things are not going right? Right? That's a skill. Right? Good. So give me a big yes. Can you, does everyone, yeah, is it great to look at, what's Claire put here? It is great to learn about successful coaches in various sports to see what we can integrate into our own coaching practice. Fantastic point, Claire. Thank you for reminding me. Look at other sports, look at other coaches, look at how they go about things and what can you take from that and bring in to this beautiful sport of ours, right? As a player growing up, before I signed with my first professional club at 15, I was doing a lot of badminton and table tennis. And people will laugh and go, badminton and table tennis. But those skills helped me at 15 years old, signing a contract with a professional club. And those skills and those sports had nothing to do with, we call it football, soccer. And it's no different on the coaching side as a coach, right? We've got John and Nicole here. John's like the second cousin of Superman because he does triathlons, he does this, he does. And I love speaking to him and learning some of the things he does in that and seeing how I can relate it to what I do as well. Claire's the same thing. Claire's had experiences all over, and I love having these conversations and then bringing it back and saying, okay, I love that, and how could I spin it to this now? And that's the beauty of it, right? So taking bits from other outside of your circle, different sports, different people, right? Okay, does that make sense? Give me a big yes. Whew. Tell you what, it's the first time I'm doing a presentation in front of my window and I absolutely feel like I'm in the Bahamas. Woo! Anyway, okay, so in closing, okay, be authentically you, as I am being right now, right? Be you. You're beautiful as you are. Just be you, and people will relate with that, connect with that, and want to be around you, right? Connect with your athletes as people, right? As people. This is a massive one. You know, I just mentioned when I was at my professional club as a 15-year-old, I was looked on as a commodity, not as a person. One of the worst feelings, not being looked upon as a person, but a commodity, right? Be a positive role model. Understand the impact you can make, positive and negative, with everyone around you. Players, parents, your organization, right? Be a positive role model. Not easy, but as long as we've got the rules going, okay? You work for your athletes, right? Very important, you work for your athletes. Coaching is a lot like teaching, and it's a caring profession, right? It's a caring profession. We had, I forgot who mentioned it earlier, but we had someone put that in there. I think it was Glenda. Show that you actually care. You know, if you're on this call and you run a team outside of soccer and at work, put that phone call in to see how someone's doing. Put that call in to say, hey, I know you're at A right now and you'd like to get to B. How can I help you? How can this organization help you get to that level? Show you really care, because it's not just about now, it's about moving forward as well. So are you one of those leaders, right? Be purposeful. Right? Very important. And then at the end there, very important, have fun and be enthusiastic, right? And we get it. Sometimes you know, you're having a horrible day or whatever, but you've got to pull that out. You've got to pull it out. Be yourself, but you've got to pull it out. If I turn up to the session and I was like, hey kids, we're going to have such a fun session today, right? Really, we're going to have a great session. Right, straight away, what am I coming across as? Right? Derek Downer, you know what I mean? Be enthusiastic no matter what's happened in your day. Okay? So good. So I'll come out of the presentation. Good. So in fact, I'm going to ask a question here. Is there anything out of this presentation that you got and you said, you know what, I was doing it, but I'm going to dive more into it now from this presentation? So if you feel comfortable coming online, showing your face or just putting it in the chat box. But is there anything you kind of got out of this presentation that you liked that you're going to continue to carry on work, even if it's just one thing? Share, do you want to share, or obviously come on as well? Yes, Katie said yes. Okay, what were they? Enjoyed it. So yeah, give me a bit more. What did you love about it? What's some of the things? Just so, because again, I love to use this as a learning platform. Confirmation of good habits. Thank you, Gabrielle. Yeah, love that. Thank you. Right, Ricardo enjoyed it. Okay. Good. All right, good. Oh yeah, I can actually go on my chat box now because I've come out of the presentation. Duh. All right. Good, fantastic. So again, encouragement and confirmation of the importance of passion in the game. Yeah, passion in the game. All right, thank you, Kate. I love that. And again, I don't take it for granted because it's not an easy platform to come in and speak and stuff. So I'm glad we do have the chat box, and I'm glad you're sharing. Not only for me to see what you got out of it, but Claire, John, and everyone else on this call, right? So again, I do want to massive shout out before we do end the call to Claire Patterson, who put the slides together. So Claire, wherever you are, I can't see you right now. I can just see you. Yeah, thank you. Good, fantastic. Claire, any thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, no, I just, this kind of thing, leadership is really interesting to me. And I've really enjoyed doing stuff on leadership and learning about leadership. And it's just incredible to know what an impact you can make in people's lives, not only within the sport, but just as people down the road. I've had the privilege of coaching at various levels and at the university level. And it was just, I'll go to a quick story. An interesting thing, I just had taken over this university team that hadn't done very well. And they got beat by our rivals by a lot. And so I sat the group down at the end of the game and said, okay, so what's the difference between us and them? Right? I wasn't mad at them. I was just like, okay, how come they were so much better than us? And got the players to start thinking about why is the gap so big? What is the issue here? And we had this conversation. And then I had the two captains come up to me after the game, after that conversation. And they said, we were terrified when you sat us down. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, the old coach, when we got beat like that, made us run like sprints and sprints and sprints and sprints after something like that happened. And I'm like, yeah, that's not how I operate, right? Like, let's solve this problem together. Let's work together. And I can't tell you, like, I'm getting goosebumps talking about this team because it was like my baby, right? Like, it was a program that I was turning around and creating, a legacy with. And these players, after that conversation, that really laid the foundation. That was really early on in our season. And that laid the foundation for them going, hey, you know what? We don't have to like just beat ourselves up because we had a bad game. We have to figure out why we had a bad game or how are we going to close the gap and get better. And first weekend of the first season, I took that team over. By the end of the season, we were just out of playoffs. And then from my remaining time there, we made playoffs every year. And those players were just like I saw, run through the wall for me. They were just incredible. And I can't speak highly enough of them. And they reach out to me often now, seeing how I'm doing, because I've been off away from them for a while now. And the vets and the players that I spent so many years with, you know, still reach out and see how we're doing and that kind of thing. So, I mean, again, it's forming those relationships. And I think if you think back to your most positive moments with a coach or with a team, it's about that team that it just comes together. And you don't necessarily are like best buddies with everybody, but you respect everybody. And you're going to work your butt off for your teammates that you respect. Right. So, yeah, that's, you know, leadership's great. And you know, being passionate about the game and getting to be an impact on young people's lives. I think that's such a privilege. So I hope that coaches continue to see that. It's not a burden. It's definitely a privilege. So thanks.
No, thank you. I thought that, thank you for that, Claire, and sharing that with us. I thought that was, we can all relate to that. And that's, and again, it's looking at it from a different lens. And, you know, especially when the players said to you, they thought you were gonna, right? Because of the experience they had with a different adult, right? So I love that. Thank you for sharing that story. Because it's something we can all relate to. But yeah, you know, Claire's right. We have such an impact. Such an impact on people's lives. We can't take that for granted. Can't take that for granted, because if we think, you know, me shouting at a child's not going to affect a child, or me shouting at a parent's not going to, it does it in different ways. It does it in different ways, and we've talked about this before. People can be hurting inside without actually telling you, right? So when you have that relationship of this, and I'm free to speak and you're free to speak, and you listen, I listen. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. I now look on you in such a different light. Kids look on us in such a different light, because for all you know, and yes, we're in a great country like Canada, but not everyone's going home and having that relationship. Not everyone's going home and having that environment. And those are the things we've always got to be aware of. Always got to be aware of that. So if they are with us for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever the time is, can we make an impact? Not only in the soccer wise, but in the heart and in the mind, right? So good. Anything else? Any comments from anyone else here? Ricardo, again, thank you for being here. Martin, Kate, Glenda, Gabrielle, Christine. Is that Alex B from Seattle? Just so I know. Is it? Is it Alex B from Seattle? Alex, is that you? Oh, I probably can't hear me. But anyway, okay, yes, okay, thank you for being here, Alex. Alex is a new friend I have met and building a relationship for, who's in Seattle. So I'm glad you're on this call. As time goes on, you'll hear who Alex is. But thanks for being on the call, Alex. Claire has just put in the chat box. There you go. A link to our feedback form. So again, some feedback. We know that it's we have noticed now that since we've gone into phase 2, a lot of coaches now are on the field coaching around these times, and we are going to be looking at possibly, and this is feedback you can give us as well, if we change the time instead of 7 p.m. to like 10 in the morning, would that be of any benefit? I know John, who's on the call, is going to be leading the next one, not next week because it's Canada Day, but the one after. But between now and then, if you can share feedback with us and say, would the morning one be better than the evening one? Because we always get a lot of people telling us now that we're in phase 2, I'm on the field coaching, I can't be in 2 places at the same time. So we want that feedback if you can give it to us. And again, if there's any other topics that you would love us to cover and share and have dialogue with, again, please bring those forward as well. Again, it's about us serving, learning together, not you learning from us, but all of us learning together. No matter how much experience we have, we're all students, and we'll continuously keep doing this, and that's why we're having that impact in the environments that we have. So again, I thank you for making this time to be here. We're 7:49, so yeah, we're under an hour. All right, so thank you again. Stay safe, spread some love, and we'll all see you soon. Okay, thank you again.